Hey teachers, Rachel Parlett here from the Classroom Nook, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can set up a full unit for your students inside of Google Classroom using any Google Classroom compatible resources that you have, but most specifically how you can use any units that you have from the Classroom Nook that are Google Classroom compatible. I'm going to show you how to use those units and how I've set them up. And all the resources that I provide for you in those units, how you can use them in Google Classroom. So I'm going to use my Westward Expansion unit as an example, but again, this will work with any of my units, and you can also take and apply the things that I'm going to teach you to any of the resources that you have created for your students and how you can use them to set up a full unit in Google Classroom so that your students can learn remotely. So again, this is my Westward Expansion unit. This is the teacher guide that you will download off of Teachers Pay Teachers, and inside the teacher guide, there's a lot of information here, but you're going to go to the unit overview and you are going to click on lesson 1. So you want the goal is you're going to want to be able to teach all this information that you would normally teach in the classroom remotely using Google Classroom. So in the materials section, you'll notice there are several things here for you. There's anchor slides. Those are the anchor slides that you would post up for your students, and you would use them to teach a mini lesson or a skill about within the unit on this lesson. Those are the anchor slides. Then the unit comes with the student activity packet, and then all of these are the actual resources that you use for lesson 1. The bulletin board set you will probably not use, just for obvious reasons. You're not going to have them create a bulletin board at their house, so you probably won't use the bulletin board set when you're creating units for your students to use remotely, but you will use all these other things. I want to begin with the student activity packet. This is going to be kind of the home hub for your students to go to when they are completing any of the activities for each lesson that you're going to post for them. So let's go ahead and begin there. And if you click on the Google Slides icon, it will prompt you to make a copy, and you can make a copy inside your Google Drive. Now I want to make sure that you know that you need to be logged into the correct account before you try to make a copy. So if you are using your school account that is connected with your Google Classroom account, be sure you are logged into that account so that this will save a copy into the correct Google account and the correct Google Drive. By clicking Make a Copy, it will automatically make a copy for you in your Google Drive, and it will open it for you in Google Slides. So this is the student activity packet, and you'll see here it says copy of. That shows that you've made a copy. This is now your master copy in your Google Drive, and I would suggest that you call this whatever you want, but I would indicate that this is specific to this distance learning situation that we are currently in. Hopefully we will not have to repeat this again next year. So you are going to be adding things into this student activity packet that you would not normally add in a regular school year. So somewhere in the title indicate that this is for your distance learning teaching. And then if you again teach this again next year, you can make another copy that is just the slides that you see here as they are originally intended to be used. But so for today, I'm just going to call this Distance Learning Student Activity Packet, or SAP as I often call it. All right, so we've got that labeled there. It's again saved in my Google Drive. So now I'm going to begin adding some slides in here because I want students to be able to open their student activity packet and have essentially everything that they need for each lesson. So in any of my student activity packets, it's clearly labeled what slide is for which lesson. This is for lesson 1. This is also for lesson 1. And then when it gets to lesson 2, it'll say so in the corner. So students will always know what slides they need. Now, typically in the classroom, you would likely call your students or gather them around or have them be able to see a smartboard or a whiteboard where you would present to them the anchor slides that you would use to teach each lesson. Now, since you don't have that option when you are teaching remotely, you are going to actually embed those anchor slides right here within their student activity packet. So when you downloaded this off of Teachers Pay Teachers, you were also given the PNG image files that are the anchor slides. So let me show you what I mean. When you downloaded this resource off of Teachers Page Teachers, it will look like this. This is the teacher guide that we were looking at. But if you look in the teacher resources, you'll see that there's the anchor slides in PDF format, and there's an anchor slides in PowerPoint format, but there's also this PNG images file. And what I've done is I've saved each slide from the anchor slides as an individual image that you can then insert into your Google Slides. And that's what we're going to do today as we build this lesson in, or build this unit in Google Slides. So if I go over here, I want to insert all of the anchor slides that I would have normally taught to my students in the classroom. So I'm going to delete, I clicked the plus sign that added my slide. I deleted the text boxes that were there by default, and I'm going to go here to change background. And of course you will want to have already saved the slides somewhere on your computer so that you can access them. So I'm going to click here where it says choose image. I'm going to go to browse, and I am going to select the slide that I want to include. Now you can include this opening slide if you want, or you can just jump right to the first slide for lesson 1, which is here, the lesson 2 or slide 2. I'm going to click on that, and what it's going to do is it's going to add that image as a background to this. So you notice I can't move anything here. That way students won't be able to make any changes. So I'm going to go ahead and add another slide to add other additional slides that go along with lesson 1. I'm going to do that real quickly for you here. All right, now I've gone ahead and I've added all of the slides that are indicated to be used for lesson 1. And again, it's really easy to know that you have the right lesson because down in the corner it says lesson 1. Now, one thing to point out, and this isn't going to be true for every lesson, but in some cases, there is a video that you are supposed to be viewing with your students on whether you're watching it together as a whole class or not. But because you inserted it as an image, they can't click on it. So what you'll need to do, and this is true for any video that would normally be on the anchor slides that you'd share with your students, if you go back to the materials section, you'll see that I've included that video link. So if you click on that, it will bring you to the actual video where it's saved on YouTube. And you can just copy that link, right click and copy, go back to your anchor slides in your student activity packet and click on insert video, and then just paste that link right here and it'll pop up for you, and you can insert it right onto the slide for students to watch. And you can kind of just put it right over top that video that's already there as the image, or you could just delete this slide altogether and just put the video slide in by itself. It's totally up to you, but it kind of matches if you keep the background. So students can now view that video here for you, and all of the slides that are for lesson 1 are right here before they actually get to the pages within their student activity packet that they would have completed for lesson 1. Now you can also do a couple other things here. Let's say you want to videotape yourself teaching something specific, or maybe you want to include an audio clip that gives more information that you would have normally discussed with the students should you be doing this live, or had you been doing this live. So you could do any of those things also here as well. You could add any additional slides that you want. You can include a video of yourself teaching anything, or you can include an audio clip here. You will have to record yourself in any software that you might have on your computer to record voiceovers, and then insert the audio here. So those are just some extra options that you could do. Or you could just leave the slides as is and have students read through the text that's on the slides. Now you're going to go ahead and do that for every lesson. So these slides were for lesson 1. Here's the student activity sheets for lesson 1. Then when we get to lesson 2, I'm going to click in between slides 6 and 7. And now I'm going to insert the slides for lesson 2, the anchor slides for lesson 2, so that students have those with them as well. This is just helping students so they don't have to keep going back and forth between looking maybe at the PDF version of the anchor slides and then back to their Google Slides. So again, I would do all of my lesson 2 slides. Then here's my student activity sheets for lesson 2. Then before I get to lesson 3, I would insert the anchor slides for lesson 3, and so on, until I do that for all of the lessons within this unit. Once you have your student activity packet all set up with the anchor slides that they'll need, you've inserted any videos that may need to be inserted because the image itself won't have the video attached to it. You've added anything else that you want to include, a video of yourself or any audio clips. Now you're going to get ready to actually build this unit and assign the things inside of Google Classroom. So let's go inside of Google Classroom and see what this would look like. All right, I've set up a test classroom here, so I'm going to go ahead and click on it. And this is the teacher view, so I have stream, classwork, people, and grades. I'm going to go into classwork, and I'm going to create a topic first. So I would suggest it makes it easy to organize your things that you're assigning, because you're likely assigning them several things if you create different topics for the different things that you're teaching. So if I click on topic, I'm going to call this one Westward Expansion. And I'm going to click on add. Now there's not anything in this yet, so you notice that it appeared here. I don't have any lessons here yet, but I'm going to do that now. So go back to all topics. I'm going to click on create. I'm going to click assignment. Now the first thing you're going to want to do is just assign that student activity packet, because they're going to use that student activity packet with every lesson. So you can call this Westward Expansion Student Activity Packet. And you can include any information here that you want to include. Maybe you might want to say you will use this student activity packet for every lesson. But now you're going to want to actually add in that student activity packet that you've added all the Google Slides to. Anything that you've changed about it, you're going to add it here. So go ahead and click on Google Drive, because that's where it's saved. And if you just did the changes, it will most likely appear right here for you in your most recent files. So go ahead and click on it. And then the number one thing you want to do here is you want to change this drop-down menu to make a copy for each student. By doing that, you're giving each student their own copy that they can make changes to. They can type in their any answers right here on the slides. If you don't do that, you're giving everybody the same copy, and so then they would see each other's answers and it would just be a big mess. So please make sure you click make a copy for each student. Then you're going to go ahead and click assign. If you do want to if you want to assign it a point value or give it a due date, you could also do that. Oh, one more thing. Here's where you're going to want to choose Westward Expansion as your topic. That way, when students click on that topic, everything that you've assigned under that topic will appear. So that's important. Click on Westward Expansion. And if you want to attach anything else like a rubric, it's totally up to you. But you've got these extra options over here. Click assign. And now when I click on Westward Expansion, you'll see that right here for your students, and they will have, it'll say Westward Expansion Student Activity Packet. So make sure that they know that they're going to be coming back to this every single day, this specific task or assignment that you put in there for each lesson. So now let's go ahead and create day 1 for your Westward Expansion unit. So go back to all topics, click on assignment. You're going to call this one Westward Expansion day 2 or day 1. Now in day 1, they're going to be doing more than just looking at that student activity packet that you created for them. In fact, if you go to the teacher guide, you'll notice as you read through, there's some other activities that they're going to be doing. They're going to be reading an article, and they're going to be looking at some picture cards that they are going to be using on their student activity packet activity sheet that's included. So you want to include those articles and the you want to include the article and the picture cards here on day 1, because that's where when they're going to be using them. So again, you're going to go to the teacher guide. If you click on the Google Slides icon for the article, you will be prompted to make a copy. It will do so in your Google Drive, and you'll do the same for the picture cards. Click on make a copy, and then when you go to add, click on Google Drive. And if you've, again, just recently did this, it will be here for you. Click on, you can do 2 at the same time. If you click on one and then click on control and click on the second thing, the picture cards, you can add them both at the same time. And in this case, they just need to view the file, since it's just an article that they need to read and the picture cards that they need to read. So you can include both of those here. And then I would include here in the instructions exactly what you want them to do. I would say something like task 1, read through slides 1, 2, watch the video on slide 3, preview the vocabulary on slide 4. Then I would say task 2, read the article. Task 3, look at the picture cards. Task 4, complete slides 5 and 6, or however you need to word that so that it makes sense to your students and they are knowing exactly what they need to do on day 1. And once you've done that, you've included all your instructions, you're going to go ahead and click Assign. One thing that I forgot to do, and if this happens to you, this is how you fix it. I did not attach that day 1 to the westward expansion. So if I go in here to edit, I forgot to click over here, topic, westward expansion. You want to do that so that it shows up within that topic, and then click save. And now when I go into westward expansion, both of those will show up here for you. And you will, here's that student activity packet. Here's day 1. And I would continue to do this for every day that I need to assign for my students. So I would go back up and repeat the process, create assignment, westward expansion day 2. I'd include all the information. I would attach any resources that are indicated for lesson 2. In this case, it's another article and some activities that they're going to do. So you would repeat that same task for every lesson within the unit. Now they're going to use the same, if I'm back here in my westward expansion topic, they're going to use the same activity packet because they're going to continue to add on to it throughout the unit. But in the days that you add, you're just going to add the actual resources that are specific to that day, and then they can always open up their student activity packet as they go through the unit. Now, if I go on the student end of the classroom, Google Classroom, they will be able to view the things that you've assigned for them if they go to classwork, and then they will have that topic that you've created for them and all of the things that you've assigned for them here. So I hope that was helpful for you to kind of wrap your mind around how you might use a Google Classroom compatible resource remotely with your students, specifically any of the resources that I've created. I hope that it makes it easy for you to now see how it will translate into distance learning. Thanks so much. Take care.